Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am. It's 6 p.m.
Good evening. I'm Mary Baker, and I'm on the Board of Education representing District 6 of the Board of Education. I came on the board in September of 2008. I've talked to many, many people in person, and this is my first time of doing this via the internet. So I'm a little nervous, but I am here to answer any questions that I can for you, and also to introduce you to our wonderful staff who we couldn't do this without them, and they have more knowledge than I do. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce a few of the people who are going to be joining us tonight. Out of District 6, we have Principals Monica Gorey and Miss Sarah Stevens. Along with that, we will have updates on curriculum from Dr. Ebony Lee, Miss Trina Reeves, and I don't know if Miss Heath is on the line yet. Yes, I can see her now, Miss Christine Heath. We will also be having information on COVID, which is, of course, the number one thing that we're all talking about these days from our health department. That's under Dr. Collier. I believe she's got a couple of her nurses to answer questions. And then we'll take some questions, and then we'll try to get you back to your family as quick as we can. On the screen is some of the very special people. These are the other members of the Board of Education. Miss Gorey is our chair. She has been on the board. We came on at the same time, and as you can see, we have one vacancy, but we work hard every day for the children of our different districts. And I will tell you that regardless of what number you see next to our name, every one of us is willing to help you in any way possible, because it's all about the children. These are some of the schools that my district encompasses. I have students, again, at many of these schools. And if you don't see your name there, that's fine. Give me a call anyway. We'll get you where you need to be. Some of the things that are important to me are parents, family, and community members supporting our children and demanding a high quality education for them. That also goes with a love of learning. The community support and engagement of our children and our staff in their daily work, especially during this COVID time. It is not easy what everyone has to do. I'd like to go ahead and add parents to that also, because you all are supporting us during a very difficult time. And strong school system and high achieving, well-rounded students are the backbone and the future of Clayton County and our nation. As the new school year begins, we're seeking district nominations for parents, teachers, principals, and staff, students, and community members to serve on the 2021-22 advisory council for my district. And applications are due by September 17th, and then they will be announced on the 24th. And what I'm looking for are people who want to give input. What's important to you? What are we, you're going to tell me what we're doing wrong, but please tell me what we're doing right, because we need to focus to make sure that we don't lose that. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our principals to give us some updates of what's going on in the schools in this district of District 6.
Are we going in order? Is it okay to just jump on in?
Just jump on in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Gorey, and I am the proud principal of Lily E. Suter Elementary School. And I have been the principal of Lily E. Suter Elementary School since 2019. And I want to highlight one particular thing that some may not know in the community, but that Cambridge is our program that we are implementing at Suter. We are a Cambridge Assessment International Education School. Some may say, well, what is Cambridge and why Cambridge? Well, as the proud principal, I would tell you that we are a Cambridge school because it prepares students for life. It helps our scholars to develop an informed curiosity and lasting passion for learning. Cambridge, or the curriculum, also helps our students develop thinking and learning skills. And it helps our scholars to be able to tackle the demands of tomorrow's world. And you may ask, well, Ms. Gorey, you're elementary, so how is that going to help them tackle the world? Well, guess what? In our district, we are one of the 3 schools in our district that are Cambridge schools: Suter Elementary School, Arnold Elementary, and Elite Scholars. So of course, looking at the pathway for Cambridge, going from elementary, some of our scholars we're hoping will be able to move into Elite Scholars where they can go on with that particular Cambridge path. And then when students or scholars graduate from school, it opens the doors to many fabulous universities, not only in the United States of America, but we've learned also in the UK, also in Australia, also in Canada and beyond. And so that's what you would expect from an organization that is a part of the world leading University of Cambridge. So Suter, right here in Jonesboro, Georgia, is a part of the Cambridge program. And we became a fully registered school in 2019, and we have been Cambridge proud ever since. So we are Cambridge K through 5, training all of our teachers to be Cambridge teachers, even those that come on or come in and are new. We continue the training, and that training comes to us from the Fine Arts Department, where they set it up under the direction of the director, Dr. Monica Wiley. So we are very pleased and very happy about being a Cambridge Assessment International Education School.
Thank you so much, Principal Gorey.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Gorey, and good evening, parents. I am Sarah Stevens, the extremely proud principal of M.D. Roberts School of the Arts in Jonesboro, the only fine arts magnet middle school in Clayton County. We are beaming with excitement at our school as the Magnet Schools of America has determined that our school has met the essential characteristics of their 5 pillars to become and to be named a nationally certified magnet school. We join the ranks of schools such as Stillwell School of the Arts and Pace Elementary School of the Arts, just to name a couple, but there is one distinction. We are Clayton County's first demonstration level magnet school. And not only Clayton County, but Georgia's first demonstration level magnet school. So we are very excited about this distinction and this honor, and we're excited about the prospects of the direction that we will continue to go in our school. Among other school highlights, we're very proud of our National Beta Club. They're gearing up for another year of competition. This summer, well, let's back up. Last fall, they competed for the very first time at the National Beta School State Convention. And they placed second place and qualified for the national competition. They competed in June in Orlando, Florida, and placed fourth place at the national competition. And this was our very first time competing. So as you can imagine, this year, all of our students are gearing up for a year to bring home the gold. Another thing we're proud of at our school, each year we strive very hard to increase the number of partnerships that we have to support academic excellence, as well as the implementation of the arts in and through our educational practices. Well, this year, We increased by one more partnership so far, but it's just the beginning, with the lead guitar program in partnership with the University of Georgia. They provide us with whole group, small group instruction on a weekly basis to guitar majors at our school. And this partnership includes professional development for our staff, workshops, guest artists, and it will culminate at the end of the year with a showcase concert for our students, our guitar majors. And that's all grade levels, grades 6 through 8. The next thing is we have a STEM professional school partnership newly awarded this week from the Atlanta Science Festival. Well, they will bring in professionals to work with our 7th grade science students as they're preparing for science fair and learning about all the career aspects and enriching their instructional experience for science. So we're very excited about this new partnership. Parents, I want you to look out, especially if you're an MD Roberts parent, for a new resource that is newly available that you will hear more about this weekend, tutor.com. This is a resource for all of our students, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. And this is available to our students right now in their Rapid Identity portal. Students may go there and schedule one-on-one tutorial sessions. They may also schedule a time for tutorials, and it's available for all core area subjects. That's math, science, English, and social studies. Students will receive recordings of their sessions as a reference, and parents, you can receive a transcript of the sessions if you're trying to help your child at home and support your child's success from home. So look for that. That's tutor.com, and your child has access through our Rapid Identity portal. Not to take too much time, but parents, I just want to let you know that if you would like to learn more about the great happenings going on at MD Roberts School of the Arts, we will have a virtual county choice and magnet fair this Saturday, September 11th. It's from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock a.m. Please feel free to log in, not only to hear about all of the information or details about our program, but all choice programs in Clayton County. It is virtual, and it begins at 10 o'clock a.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Principal Stevens. I'm so glad to hear so many great things at our 2 schools that we've just highlighted today. Now, I believe we are going on to our curriculum team. And I believe that's under Dr. Ebony Lee and her fantastic staff. I should say team, her fantastic team.
Yes, team. Thank you, Ms. Baker. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And Ms. Baker, thank you for inviting me and my team to share briefly this evening some of the teaching and learning updates for our parents. I love, Ms. Baker, how you started off at the beginning, sharing some of your vision for District 6, that parents are a vital partner in this work. And I cannot emphasize that enough, that beyond the school day, we really need our parents and our caregivers continuing to partner with us so that our students are engaged in learning regularly so that they can meet the demands of what's being required of them. So tonight, I'll share briefly, and then Trina Reeves and Christy Heath. Next slide, please. Some of the things that we will emphasize will be our instructional focus areas so that our parents are very aware of what should be occurring in our classrooms. And then following me, Trina Reeves will share STEM updates, including the new math standards that will be implemented next school year. And then Christy Heath will share our advanced learning updates. And all of this aligns to that most important goal 1, where we're increasing and accelerating academic achievement and literacy levels for all of our students. Next slide. So I would like to start by just sharing very quickly, parents, if you wanted to know, and caregivers and community, what should be occurring in all of our classrooms. You heard Ms. Gorey and Ms. Stevens mention a lot of this really, but the expectation is that learning is rigorous, that is relevant, that is relationship oriented, and that is results driven. And I think many of us can think about upon graduation, if we went to college or some type of post-secondary training or to work, we may have encountered something or learning or reading, and we were like, goodness, I did not learn this in school. But we don't want our students to have that experience. We want learning to be rigorous every day so that the type of reading, writing, speaking, and thinking that's required to meet high demands are a natural part of what they do on a regular basis in our school district. And we want it relevant because we all ask the question, why do I need to know this? Well, we want the relevance to be tied to real world experiences. So you've heard Ms. Gorey talk about Cambridge and just that being an international curriculum. So that means our students are having to compete beyond their local area. So they need to be learning deeply, and the learning must be relevant. And the key to this will be relationships. I know many times when things are challenging, we may want to opt out or bow out, but we're more apt to persevere when we have strong relationships with the adults and their peers who are part of our circle. And so we are a social emotional learning district, and it's critical that our students are engaged. Also parents, these past few weeks, your students have engaged in assessments, whether they're learning in person or virtual. So it's important that our students are completing these assessments because they allow us to determine where they are in their reading levels and how we can meet their needs. I want to emphasize something here. Some of our students who are learning virtually have not completed their assessments, and we need that data again so that we can personalize learning for them. So if your child is learning virtually, check in with your school to make sure that they've completed these assessments. Next slide. Tomorrow, parents, you'll receive a letter in your parent portal that talks about the assessments a little bit more, but more importantly, I mentioned earlier that partnership. We're providing you with resources, very practical resources that you can use at home with your children that support early learning, that support mathematics, science, social studies, and just the overall engagement in reading, writing, and speaking. So be sure that you are signed up and are connected to the Infinite Campus Parent Portal to receive this information. Number 2, that says to the bottom right, our students can have access to wide reading by signing up for a library card. And the link is here on the screen that they can go to their Rapid Identity portal and just request a public library card. And then coming soon, number 3 is time for kids, for students in kindergarten through 8th grade. So our students will very soon start bringing home print copies of current events so that they can increase their vocabulary and their knowledge of what's going on in the world. So K through 6 will be print copies, 7 through 8 will be digital copies. Next slide. And this is the final slide for me. Also, parents, we want your feedback just on how we're doing as a district in terms of communication with you, equipping you with the resources you need, and then also informing you of our safety measures. So this survey link has been active for a week and a half now. It closes tomorrow. So if you have feedback to give to us, please complete this link. And then one last important reminder is that September 14th, next Tuesday, your students, your children will have their 4.5-week progress report. So you will be able to access that information in the Infinite Campus as well. So be sure to look out for students' progress to see how they're doing so far. At this time, I'll turn it over to Trina to provide math and STEM updates.
Good evening, community members. On August 26th, the Georgia Department of Education approved new K-12 math standards to ensure that these standards are streamlined and introduced at a more age-appropriate time. These standards will be introduced for the 22-23 school year. Next slide. The new standards contain a reduction in the number of standards for each grade level and course, an increased emphasis on comprehension and reasoning. More clarity has been provided for the standards. The standards they represent key mathematical competencies. There's an increased emphasis on contextual learning, and learning objectives for key competencies are based on a natural mathematics learning progression. For additional resources, there is a link provided on the slide. For additional questions, you can contact Dr. Tanya Clark, coordinator of the K-12 Mathematics for Clayton County Public Schools. Next slide. In an effort to support computer science and STEM education, the Office of STEM and Innovation collaborated with various Clayton County educators and departments to create and implement state-approved STEM and computer science endorsements. The second cohort of teachers participating in the STEM endorsement began this past August, along with the first cohort of the computer science endorsement. Next slide. Here are some of the STEM initiatives in which schools are participating. So we have STEM Forward and the STEM Professional School Partnership programs that are sponsored by Science Atlanta, which sponsors the Atlanta Science Festival. These programs are designed to build partnerships between schools and businesses in order to provide real-world experiences and exposure to students. Congratulations to MD Roberts. I didn't know you all had been awarded the STEM Professional School Partnership. So you, along with Jackson, are participating in that program out of District 6. The STEM Truck is a makerspace that sparks passion for STEM through math concepts and is offered to select middle schools. So there are a variety of wonderful STEM opportunities for students in CCPS. The list below at the bottom of the slide are schools that are currently implementing STEM-based activities. They're either seeking STEM certification or just beginning their STEM journey. The schools highlighted in red are located in District 6. Next slide. So we're stimulating our community, and we're so very excited about this initiative. So this is a collaboration project between CCPS and Clayton County Parks and Recreation. And the goal of this project is to use Math Talk and sidewalk math overlays in our parks, in our community parks, to create opportunities for families to engage in numeracy activities that are integrated into the community. At this time, the Clayton County School Board has already approved the project, and we are preparing a memorandum of understanding to send to Clayton County Parks and Recreation. And from there, we will enter into an agreement with the Clayton County Commissioners. Next, we will have Ms. Chrissy Heath, and she will provide updates from the Office of Advanced Learning and Intervention.
Good evening, community. Thank you for having us with you tonight. First of all, we just wanted to talk about all the opportunities that your students have with advanced learning. So as you know, we have the Advanced Learning Initiative for All. And what that does is we're working that all 6th grade students are able to go in accelerated math course. From there, they'll take accelerated math. And our hope is that all students, by the time they reach 8th grade, will be taking high school courses in their 8th grade. So they'll actually be half a year or a year ahead before they even go into high school. As our students move into high school, we have them going into an advanced placement course, and this is giving them the ability to take a rigorous college level course. And so we're actually very excited about that, because if students do perform well in these courses and they score well on their exam, then they can actually get college credit, which is money back in your pocket. Also, we have K-12 gifted services. As a parent, you have the right to ask for your child to be possibly tested by the gifted program. And then from there, you just need to contact your gifted lead teacher in your building. We also offer advanced placement courses in grades 9 through 12 at all of our high schools. We also have the International Baccalaureate program, which is very similar to the advanced placement program. And that's at Lee Street Elementary, Jonesboro Middle, and it's coming to Jonesboro High School. As you heard, the incredible Miss Gorey at Suter, which actually stole a little bit of my thunder on the Cambridge program. So I was super excited that she could share that. Our Cambridge Assessment program, which is through Arnold, Suter, and Elite Scholars, which offers the same style of courses as Advanced Placement and International Baccalaureate. And as one thing I wanted to point out that Ms. Gorey pointed out was International Baccalaureate and Cambridge Assessment, and as well as Advanced Placement. This gives our students opportunities to not only get credit at colleges within the state of Georgia, but outside of the state of Georgia and internationally. So that to me is very exciting thing for our Clayton County students. We also offer dual enrollment courses. So we work with many of our colleges throughout the state of Georgia and outside of Georgia, where students can take college courses while they're in school and go on and get ahead before they go into college. And lastly, our 10th and 11th grade students can go into the Governor's Honors Program, which is a summer internship. And every year we're super excited. We have approximately 10 to 12 students who go in from everything from fine arts to world languages to English, math, science, and they go in and they show how great they are and their performance. Next slide. We also have offered you this slide right here. We understand you'll get this presentation. These links will help you on any of our gifted and talented students. So these different resources, you can use those. And then next slide. And lastly, the early intervention program, we were asked to give you a little bit. This is an intervention program that's provided by the state of Georgia for our K-5 classes. It has a focus on reading and math support for our students who are not on grade level. It can also provide support through science, social studies, language arts, and health. It just depends on the delivery model. One of the benefits is that it has a low teacher-student ratio, so only 11 to 14 students will be served in an EIP classroom. There may be an extended amount of students in the classroom, but those are the students who get the focus. They are supported through different delivery models. Either a teacher pushes in and works with them, or they actually may be very blessed and have a teacher that works with them all day long. This is individual. Your students provided some individualized support through iReady, Dibbles, and the core curriculum. And from there, we also help them to get back to grade level. That's the point of the early intervention program. And if you want additional support, all you have to do is reach out to your school. They'll actually be able to give you that. If not, you can always communicate with me, and I'll get you to the right person to talk to. And at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Baker. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take a little point here, going back to what Ms. Heath had said in regards to our Cambridge and our IB programs. For those parents who say, oh, really, does it make a difference? Well, my daughter went through the IB program. And I will tell you that she went to the University of Kent in Canterbury, England, where she received her master's and her PhD. And now she's teaching at her alma mater at Berry College this year. So I'm a little bit proud, but I want to brag on what we do here in Clayton County. And I will tell you that if you do have one of those children in one of those programs, you might need some Tylenol for the added stress. But in the long run, it pays off. So with that being said, I will stop bragging and I will go on to Dr. Collier's team. I believe they're going to go over COVID and vaccines.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. And hello, community. We're glad to be sitting here on behalf of Dr. Angela Harrison Collier, the Director of Student Services. I'll go over Clayton Get Vaxxed, and Michelle Naismith, my cohort, will be here to answer any questions that you might have at the end of the session. Get Vaxxed Clayton, means that we're taking vaccines to the community. Our goal is to make sure everyone in the community have the opportunity to receive the COVID-19 vaccines. We're having vaccine clinics in the community. We have 2 coming up at Mundy's Mill High School on Saturday, September the 11th. This is for the second vaccine, Pfizer. And then on November the 18th at North Clayton Middle School, we'll have another session where we're doing second vaccines of Pfizer. This is given to both the students, staff, and to people to our stakeholders in the community. So please don't miss out on that opportunity. We know that there have been an increase in the number of students of youth becoming positive with COVID-19. So our goal is now to target our 12 to 18-year-old scholars we're taking vaccines into the schools, middle and high schools. We will have to have parental consent to vaccinate any scholar. So be looking out for the consents to come home, probably the end of September, or third week in September. And then we'll be going to our middle and high schools. We're very excited about that. We know that Pfizer have been approved for this third dose, which is the booster, some say the booster. And we will be doing that Pfizer booster when it becomes available, and we have permission from our medical director to start that process. We know they are working on Moderna for them to be approved for a booster. However, we won't be giving Moderna with Clayton County Public Schools. We use Pfizer. We all know that the vaccines don't prevent us from getting or contracting COVID-19, but it lessens the symptoms. And that's why we're so excited about pushing Clayton Get Vax. Our goal is to, if we were to contract COVID-19, we want our symptoms to be lessened, and we don't want to end up in the hospital. And the last thing I want to mention to you is that starting the third week in September, we'll be doing COVID-19 testing in the schools. Each one of our schools have an isolation room, so this will take place in the isolation room. This will be provided for the students and staff. For students, we will have to have parental consent. If you have a student that has to go home, or if you have a student that you suspect have COVID-like symptoms, they can be tested at the school level. We'll be using the PCR testing, and the testing will be done. We'll have a set time during the day that we're going to do it, but the results will come back and within 24 hours. It will come to the stakeholder, to the parent, and to the Clayton County Board of Health. It will not come back to the school. We do honor HIPAA. We do honor FERPA, so you won't have to worry about that. I'll be leaving this session, but Michelle will be here, Ms. Naismith, to answer any questions that you have related to COVID-19 and as far as the vaccines. And we hope to see you, if you need your second Pfizer vaccine, on September the 11th at Mundy's Mill High School. And I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Baker. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that information. It's very important, not only to educate our children, but to keep them as healthy as possible. So I appreciate that very much. My screen shows me Q&A, so I guess I'm waiting.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Baker. We have some questions that are coming through. One of our first questions is from Miss Kenyana Lachey Satterwhite. And her question is, can a DES student also qualify for the early intervention program?
I am going. Thank you, Ms. Heath. Over to you.
So give me again, Dr. Rumpcarter, what kind of student?
DES student.
So yes, ma'am. Our Department of Exceptional Students, if they qualify with an IEP for DES in reading or math, then no, we cannot serve them in EIP, because they're going to get the services that they need from their IEP. But let's say a student qualifies for services in math for EIP and is not being served with DES, then yes, we can serve them. So we just, DES, the IEP, the individualized plan for that student actually is a far superior intervention for the student at that tier. So we're considered a tier 2 intervention, but yes, we can serve them. So I hope that made that make sense.
Okay, great, thank you. Second question is from Arlene N. Vick. And the question is, what's the point of kids going back to school on Friday? And I'm assuming this question is regarding when the schools are out for the 2 weeks, and then the schools return today on a Friday.
I'm not sure.
Dr. Simpson is on the call.
Okay, there you are, Dr. Simpson.
How's
I
everybody?
see you now. Thank you.
How you doing? So, good question, and we don't want to we don't want to minimize the fact that that might be somewhat of an inconvenience. Why start on a Friday and not wait to Monday? However, we have to take into consideration that instruction is still taking place virtually, and that going to school is starting back on a day when we've exhausted the days that we said we will be out as it relates to quarantining. It's important for us to get students back face to face because we believe that that is the very best and the most of an educational experience and opportunity that we can offer our students. And so if that date happens to be on a Friday where students are expected to come back, it doesn't change much other than the fact that we're face to face, because instruction is still expected at the optimum level, whether it be virtual or whether it be face to face. We don't want to lose any days of instruction. We have 180 and we want to certainly take full advantage of every last one of those days. And we don't want to use one for a transition day. So while it doesn't seem from, I guess, operational, may not be most comfortable, we certainly ask and plead with you to bear with us. But we want to get the children back into school and get acclimated to the face-to-face environment as much and as frequent as we possibly can, because we believe, again, that that is the very best of instruction that we can offer our students.
Thank you, Dr. Simpson. I believe Ms. Gorey's got a hand raised for us.
Miss Gorey made a mistake. I thought I was in the chat. I'm on 3 different devices, but there was a great question that person asked about why not on Monday, because I felt exactly the same way, but I don't make those decisions.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ms. Gorey. And for clarification, that's Chairperson Gorey versus Principal Gorey. Both of you, thank you for being here.
Ms. Baker, our next question is, if you signed up for virtual, can you switch, when can you switch to face-to-face or vice versa?
So we're requiring our students to at least remain until the end, if they're in virtual, to remain at least to the end of the semester. For students who are in person who want to transition to virtual, they can do that at any time, at any point.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lee. Our next question, can you please explain the notices, especially when a school receives, for example, 2 notices or letters regarding COVID and to quarantine for 15 days, but the school remains open? Why do you receive letters when the school remains open?
Good afternoon. Would that be a question for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, the letters that you receive, it should not be a 15-day letter. It should be a 10-day letter. And there are 2 different letters that are generated. One letter is for if there is a positive case in the school, we send out a general letter to all stakeholders, to include faculty, staff, and students. Just to for transparency, we want everyone to know that there has been a positive case in the school. If you were deemed as a person that was exposed to that positive person, then you would get a letter of exposure. And that means that you were considered in close contact with that individual that was positive. And that letter should indicate the time frame of your quarantine and when you should be able to return into the building face to face. So if you receive a letter, the letter does not mean that you were exposed. It means that there was a case in the school, so that everyone will know, that there was a positive case in the school. Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question, what do we do as parents when there's a sub and my child cannot enter the chat or complete the work?
So
Dr. Lee, you can probably finish up with this, but first thing we need to do is the parent needs to contact the principal of that school. Any difficulties, that is, I equate that to being an issue with a teacher or not getting assignments. We want to always give the principal an opportunity, or the assistant principal, the school administration, an opportunity to address whatever challenges a student is having with technology or with the teacher or not being able to log in. And so that's the very first thing that I would say. Please speak with your principal. And I'm more than certain that the principal will be able to take care of that. They'll address that concern. They'll address that concern.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Simpson. And our next question says, can I sign my child up for the advanced learning opportunities, or will a teacher have to recommend them?
So that actually, you have a couple of opportunities. If the student is going into the 6th grade, then they're automatically put into accelerated math courses. But as the student moves through middle school, then talking with your counselor and your school, your principal, they'll give you better information on which of their high school courses they are offering. And really, we are moving our students just into these programs. When you get into high school, then you have more choice. So that's also, again, a really good conversation with your counselor as you making the determinations for the courses you want. And if you're not getting the courses you want, then please reach out again to your principal. I know of an experience where a student was walking down the hall of Forest Park High, and he stopped the principal and he said, I'm not in an advanced placement course. And he said, come with me, we'll make sure you're in one. So your principals will bend over backwards to help you, and so will the assistant principals in helping you pick the right courses to be in. So for any of these courses for advanced learning for all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Heath. And then we have on, looks like YouTube, Ms. Cheryl Mixon. Her question is, why are athletic activities still going on at the school when the school is closed to academics and COVID is still present and spreading among the athletes, students that are not masked?
Well, I'll try to tackle that. As many may recall, last year, we allowed athletics to take place, although the fact that we were virtual. Many of our athletic programs are afforded and have undergone testing prior to, sometimes, and in some cases, prior to an event taking place. Students that, just as well as being athletic, students in the buildings, the protocols are almost identical. They are the same for the students that test positive, whether they've been exposed. We'll shut those programs down. But in order for those students to participate athletically, and that's in all extracurricular activities, not just a football, for an example, with that season being in, we have softball going on as well, cheerleading. But when those cases where present themselves, where those students have been exposed, we follow the exact same process, except the only clearance that they will need to participate is a negative test. Those students have to present a negative test in order to participate. And they have to, of course, have been outside of that window of the shutdown. Like, for an example, Lovejoy just returned back. They missed a couple of games as a result of that because of some students testing positive in the program. But for those students that will participate in the future, they'll have to present a negative test.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Simpson. And we have one final question that we'll take from one of our Facebook participants, Ms. Deonsa Heath. Which schools, and so Ms. Heath, this is from you, and her last name is Heath. Which schools are a part of the Cambridge community again?
Okay, so the incredible Cambridge community is Arnold Elementary, Suter Elementary, where the wonderful Miss Gorey is, and Elite Scholars. So you have courses from K to 12th grade, and that's where those are. And it's nice to know there's another Heath out there.
Thank you. That concludes our question and answer time, Ms. Baker.
Thank you so much. I believe there's going to be one more slide. Am I correct? A lot of you have had questions on who to contact in regards to something that might be going on with your student or in school. And this slide right here is also on the website. And it will tell you who to contact and the next level if that doesn't happen for you. We want to get any any issue that you have taken care of as quickly as possible, because it is about the education of our children, and that is why we do this. So I believe that's the last one. If I'm waiting for Dr. Rump Carter to tell me if I've got anything else before I say goodbye to you all. I do want to thank everyone who came in to help me with this evening. I appreciate what you do on a daily basis. I appreciate you coming in to help me now. I did see that Dr. Beasley came in. I didn't get a chance to mention him. So again, as you can see up on the screen, the reason we do this is that there's nothing more important than our children. And people have asked me for years, why do you do this? Why were you crazy enough to come to a board? And that's my answer right there. I love kids, and they're our future. So thank you so very much for coming and being with us this evening. There's lots of ways to contact us. If you have any more questions, we'll be glad to help. Thank you.